Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation from Congress to me represents the biggest blow to Donald Trump's administration, not only because his loudest supporter has now become his most outspoken critic, but because of the permission structure it has given Republicans in Congress. They can break with Donald Trump, they can tell him no, and they can outwardly call out his criminality and corruption, and it's what's happening right now already. It's why Donald Trump, in this moment of weakness, is lashing out ever before, announcing illegal deportations, unlawful denaturalizations, and of course a block on immigration like we have never seen before. But Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't finished with her criticism, because in the wake of these announcements, she is dropping Donald Trump's nightmare on him. We are going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into what Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say, we have to start with the Democratic response to Donald Trump's calls for a complete blockade almost on immigration that Robert Garcia called out right here.
Congressman, you're an immigrant too. Your family came here from Peru. When you hear the president talk about removing people who are, quote, non-compatible with Western civilization, what do you hear? And what is it like to be a person who's living in the U.S. uncertain of your own future?
I'll share that. Immigrants are some of the most patriotic people in this country. I came here when I was a kid. My family worked hard. We did everything we can and could to give back to the country, to the community. And becoming U.S. citizens was the best thing that could have happened to my family. And that, of course, is the story of so many folks that are here and that are trying to either gain citizenship, gain an opportunity to work. And we've seen, especially over these last few months, the dehumanization of immigrants, what's happened, whether it's been with ICE or DHS, the mass agents taking people away, the detention centers that no one can visit. I recently been talking to U.S. citizens even that have been detained by federal authorities for no reason, not understanding what had happened to them. And so this is, again, part of Donald Trump's broader policy. He views immigration in such a negative light that is, quite frankly, anti-American. Americans and this country know and understand that immigration has been a net positive and continues to be. These recent actions by the president and the comments then over the last couple of days have been quite shocking and embarrassing to comment about other people across this country. When you think about, for example, the folks that helped our own military save American lives and save civilians, not just in Afghanistan, but around the world, these are people that gave their lives and oftentimes put their own family at risk to support and save American troops. So we've got to be very, very cautious and thoughtful about what we say and how we lead in this moment. And certainly, we all agree, and I have said this to my Republican colleagues, nobody, including Democrats, wants anyone in this country that is committing crimes or causing harm. Those folks shouldn't be here and absolutely should be deported. But hardworking, good people that either helped us in our military, through our asylum process, or that are working and powering our small businesses and restaurants, there has to be a better way than what Donald Trump is doing right now.
More than just Donald Trump trying to create a greater stranglehold on power, he's, in my opinion, trying to go back to the basics and play the hits with MAGA. He recognizes that his coalition is fractured right now. He understands that people are leaving him behind, sure as hell Marjorie Taylor Greene did, and so Donald Trump is trying to play the racist card that always works with his base. But there's one big problem that Marjorie Taylor Greene pointed out, and it goes along with what Donald Trump just posted about Joe Biden, how he wants to send him to prison. Trump wrote on Truth Social, any document signed by Sleepy Joe Biden with the auto pen, which was approximately 92% of them, is hereby terminated and of no further force or effect. The auto pen is not allowed to be used if approval is not specifically given by the President of the United States. The radical left lunatic circling Biden around the beautiful Resolute desk in the Oval Office took the presidency away from him. I am hereby canceling all executive orders and anything else that was not directly signed by crooked Joe Biden, because the people who operate the auto pen did so illegally. Joe Biden was not involved in the auto pen process, and if he says he was, he will be brought up on charges of perjury. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So Donald Trump is making a big promise to MAGA. Everything Joe Biden did is done and gone. And you know what? At the same time, we're going to go ahead and prosecute him, just like he said he would do with Hillary, just like he said he would do with Comey, just like he said he would do with Letitia James, with Barack Obama. Keep listing them off. But where are those prosecutions? Where are the Democrats in jail, Donald? Because I don't see them. And that is what Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has already broken his base enough, is saying is the nightmare coming to Trump. Marjorie Taylor Greene fires off warning to Trump over his worst mistake. Marjorie Taylor Greene is apparently not too fond of Donald Trump's latest update to his immigration policy. The Georgia House representative responded on a lengthy X post shared by the president in the early hours of Friday morning. In response to the tragic shooting of 2 National Guards members in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday by an Afghan national, where the 20-year-old service member, Sarah Beckstrom, died from her injuries, Trump shared his proposition to permanently pause migration from all third-world countries, terminate all of the millions of Biden illegal admissions, and remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States. Even as we progress technologically, Donald Trump says that we have to reverse migration because only that can cure the situation. Greene, the former MAGA firebrand turned Trump critic, shared a cryptic message seemingly in response to the president's statement. One of the worst mistakes you can ever make is over-promising and under-delivering, Greene wrote. It will leave people furious to the point they don't even appreciate the good things they received. Big promises have and still are being made. So, of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene has not changed so much. She hasn't been so moved by 3 ghosts who visited her the night before Christmas that she now has a moral compass. No, Marjorie Taylor Greene is okay with the racism from Donald Trump. What she's not okay with, though, are these big promises. And that is what MAGA has been consistently let down with, right? The fell for it again award that we see all the time. Because Donald Trump, correctly, thinks that his followers are morons. And they are. They are idiots. But they are idiots now who have their other leaders, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, telling them when Donald Trump has failed. It used to be when Trump said that something was 2 weeks away, Jesse Waters would say it's 2 weeks away, and Sean Hannity would say it's 2 weeks away, and Marjorie Taylor Greene would say it's 2 weeks away, and on down the list. But now, Republicans are feeling the pressure of those 2 weeks. Republicans are upset that nothing has happened after those 2 weeks. Republicans know that come the midterms, 2-week promises aren't going to mean jack shit, and they're going to lose their jobs. So either they say, well, I don't really enjoy this, I'm going to resign, or maybe I'll speak out against Trump. Maybe I'll try to hold him accountable for coming up short on those promises. Maybe I'll demand that we actually do go after Barack Obama and do go after Joe Biden, and I'll be the new MAGA king. That's what Marjorie Taylor Greene wants. I guarantee you that. She's the one who says, I'm going to be the real America First patriot. Donald Trump isn't living up to the ideals that he promised on the campaign trail. Marjorie Taylor Greene hasn't changed. She still wants all the racist things, the illegal things that Donald Trump promised. She just thinks that she can now deliver them. But that's the fundamental problem here for Donald Trump, is that he now has someone holding him to account. The mainstream media certainly won't do it, but when his Republicans do, when they infiltrate the little bubble that has become created around the MAGA cult, yeah, it's a big problem. Why was the Epstein issue so bad for Donald Trump? We talked about it to begin his term. Like, we talked nonstop about the Epstein cover-up. Even when Pam Bondi came out and said, don't look at anything, it's fine. Right? We talked about it. Who is the one person, the first person to really blow it all up, to really get MAGA a little riled up, a little upset? If I remember correctly, it was Elon Musk, who had already won a little favor with MAGA. They had kind of brought him into the fold a little bit. They liked Elon. And then he said, Trump's in the Epstein files. He was able to penetrate that MAGA bubble. And then he twisted the knobs on Twitter to let the algorithm show all of Donald Trump's Epstein lies. Of course, he's tried to cover that up now. He's back in with Trump. He himself was mentioned as well in the Epstein files, in some Epstein emails, planning a trip to the island, Elon Musk was. What is Marjorie Taylor Greene pointing out? That she is the one to do the same thing that Elon did with Epstein. She's going to do it with Epstein, but she'll do it with immigration. She'll do it with healthcare. She'll do it with Trump's failing economy. She'll point out and tell those who have the MAGA blinders on, little MAGA horsey, things aren't going too well. That is Donald Trump's nightmare. That is what he can't fix. The fractures within MAGA. Marjorie Taylor Greene again, though. She doesn't care that Donald Trump is being a racist bigot. Someone who does, though, Jasmine Crockett, called it out right here.
Usually when we talk about racism in the Republican Party, it has to do with things like deleting the history of Jackie Robinson, deleting the history of Harriet Tubman, or deciding that the Tuskegee Airmen should be deleted, or maybe just defunding the African American Museum. The list kind of goes on and on and on, but I am not here to talk about why they are racist. I am here to talk about some other things as it relates to immigration. So let's get to that. You know, it's interesting because we got all these theories. I don't know why we put up with getting data and facts if we just gonna sit here and talk about how we feel. So, you know, maybe we can inject some facts into these feelings. I'm not really sure. But as somebody who has actually practiced criminal defense, I don't know if there's anybody else in here who has, I can tell you that I have handled thousands of cases, not hundreds of cases, thousands on the state level in Texas, Arkansas, and the federal level. And I can tell you that, you know what? If I had to look at the vast majority of the cases that I was representing criminal defendants on, the vast majority of them just didn't happen to be immigrants. These are just the facts of my experience, and maybe the immigrants went to somebody else. I don't know, but I can tell you in my actual experience in real life, in reality, and not in this fallacy world that y'all are making up where you hate on everybody. So my Republican colleagues are here using today to continue pushing this false narrative of sanctuary cities harboring criminals. Yet right here in DC, we have a 34-count felon being harbored in the White House. The hypocrisy coming from your side of the aisle over concerns regarding lawlessness is outrageous. Right now, House Republicans are conducting town halls with constituents lying about our legal system. That, quote, there is no due process if you come here illegally because you violated the law. That immigrants, quote, are not entitled to due process. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say that. We all want to live in a country where we respect the law. So I'm a bit surprised that Republicans aren't up in arms with Trump detaining and deporting U.S. citizens and people who are lawfully present here in the United States.
Okay, so if Marjorie Taylor Greene started sounding like that, maybe I'd be able to forgive her a little bit. But considering that it's not going to happen, and in my opinion, as I've shared, I think kind of she's just after her own political ambition, I don't know if I'm going to trust Marjorie Taylor Greene. Again, I'll applaud as she tears down Trump, and we'll talk about it. But am I going to bring her on the show and give her a hug? And I'm going to put on like a little #1 fan shirt? It's probably not going to happen. We'll continue to talk about this, though, every single day on the show. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around at the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.